Welcome back, Tiger fans, to Rockin' Radio's football podcast. I'm Nate Edwards. That's the coach, Aaron Dryden. This is Before the Box Score, your post-FCS victory edition. BK is off drinking in the mountains somewhere because he thought that was more important than watching, again, a game that he does not feel like is real. But Aaron and I are here to talk about the game that you just watched. It is important that Missouri won that game. Let's not forget that point. There are many instances in which you don't win your FCS game, and Missouri did. So, Aaron, how are you feeling right now, and welcome to the show.
Very happy to be here. Happy to be back on Rockin' Airways. How do I feel about the game? Meh. It's tough to take a lot away from these games. We're paying a team to come in and usually beat the crap out of them. And I know that we have a quarterback competition, but I think as everybody saw, like, one guy really got to operate the offense, and the other guy didn't. He was just handing the ball off. So I don't know how much we really take from it, but it was fun to see Mizzou back playing. Happy to see everybody. Luther Burden is still him. That's a good development. So everything else we can kind of get into as we get on here. But that my biggest takeaway is that I don't know how much you really can take away from something like this.
Yeah. I mean, the game was set up as, here is a chance that you can take away something big. We are going to have a quarterback battle during the first game. And, it might go into the second. And, that is what this was billed as. And to your point, we saw one guy operate the offense seemingly as it should. That was Brady Cook. And then we saw Sam Horn come in. And he also happened to be the unfortunate recipient of South Dakota, holding on to the ball for 13 minutes in the third quarter. A couple of ill-timed, at least one interception that was kind of fluky. So it's for a moment there, Sam Horn's experience was punt, interception, punt, and it didn't seem like he was really let loose, unleashed. And then, of course, he had that last drive that ended up in a touchdown pass for Luther Burden. But I don't know, man. If you went into this, and you're this is the only chance that we have to figure out if we have a quarterback or not in Brady Cook, or if we need to give Sam Horn a shot. I'm with you. I would argue that you don't have your answer. Yeah. And if you're biased towards one, I'm sure you could pick out something there, but I don't know. You think this should go into the game against Middle Tennessee?
I would, and I wouldn't be surprised if Eli does something. Maybe Sam starts the first half and then Brady gets the second half or something like that. Wouldn't surprise me at all. But I would like to see Sam Horn. I mean, he's here for a reason. He's been billed as this next big thing, kind of, and I think that's kind of the sentiment the fan base has right now. And I don't know if it's true, right? I don't know if he's actually the guy who's going to be the one to take us where we want to go, but it would be nice to see him actually play and get an earnest shot at reps. I know that Brady Cook I wouldn't say that he did anything bad. I thought he had a really nice outing, and I know a lot of people on social media say, he's just checking the ball down. It's 4 or 5 yard passes and that kind of stuff. But I think Aaron Murray was saying it on the broadcast, but that's what you're supposed to do. If the defense is playing these two high safeties and that kind of stuff, you're supposed to just check the ball down. You're supposed to take the easy throws. And that's a benefactor of the offense that Kirby Moore runs, is that it's geared to set up a lot of playmakers in space. So taking your easy completions is kind of built in what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a yak-based offense, just like Eli Drinkwitz's was. Right. That's why he liked the guy. That's why he brought him on.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to kind of how coaches go about hiring coordinators. We probably, I think a lot of us, and maybe even I, expected wholesale changes in a lot of different ways. But if you looked at the place tonight, it looks pretty similar to what we saw last year. I would guess that they're being pretty vanilla and not showing a whole lot, but it looks pretty similar with the motions, the orbit motions, all that kind of stuff, the screen passes, and a lot of lateral passing, it feels like, and not as much horizontal down the field. And I think that's kind of what everybody's planning for. So,
yeah. You enter a year with expectations and you assume that you're going to score 1 billion points against an FCS foe, and that just doesn't happen. It almost felt like South Dakota was the biggest Brady Cook fan. It's we're not going to give you an opportunity to figure anything out. Sorry. Yeah, we're gonna play everybody deep, keep all that stuff in front of us. We're gonna play, hold on to the ball. Like just screw your quarterback battle. We're gonna do what we do. And so it was not a good opportunity to do that. It was not a live, a good experiment to figure that out. So I would agree. I think Brady did exactly what he was coached to do, which is not sexy.
Right.
Did you see that run, that touchdown run when he shook the
touchdown run is awesome. I telling my wife, I was like, that's Brady Manziel right there. Man, I don't know. I don't know if he's the guy, but there's something about the kid. I don't think that anybody can deny it. Like and I think the players also feel it too. There's a reason why he's been voted a captain again. People may think that stuff is corny, but like there's a reason why he's in that spot. There's a reason why some of those guys respond to him. And he may not be the most physically overwhelming person in the world, but like I think a big part of quarterbacking is like controlling the locker room, controlling kind of the huddle, and kind of commanding that respect. And I think he definitely does that. I don't know if Sam does. I can't speak to that, obviously, but you definitely see it with Brady. There's kind of a presence there.
Yeah, there definitely is. And to Sam's credit, he seemed way more comfortable in this game. The New Mexico State game, like I know a small sample size, but like he kind of seemed like I don't know. But he ran a little bit and he got trucked by a nose guard, which I don't think Brady Cook would get. But he had the very pretty throw.
Very great. That's the thing with Sam. You could see the talent, and I think that's why everybody gets so frustrated. Is because like, can we let him cook a little bit? Because like you can see him as soon as he throws the ball, it pops out of his hand. It's really fun to see.
Yeah. So if we're grading this quarterback battle, like I was going to grade it an incomplete. I don't think you had two sample sets that were the same. So,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Like, do you think, I'm asking you to read coaches' minds, but like, is this enough? Was this enough to say, yes, I can make a full decision? And if so, it's like, were you even really giving him a shot at that point?
Oh, and I think a lot of times with these competitions, like maybe the coach deep down maybe knows one way or another which way he's leaning, but like wants to see it play out all the way through because you can't take things for granted and you never know what could happen. Brady's one play away and it could be Sam the rest of the season, right? So I think it's important to know what you have, and coaches have a hunch probably leaning in, but it's important to have the competition and not let guys replace it. So I don't know how much of an actual competition this really was, but like if we were grading it based off of the first game, you would say this was more of a light a fire under Brady Cook's ass for the stuff.
Yeah. So quarterback was the big marquee story. The second one, is the offensive line from last year, which was such a limiting factor in the running game. It was like, okay, so you brought in some transfers, you got a brand new offensive line coach. What does that look like? And boy, I know it's against an FCS team. Cody Schrader had his first 100-yard game as Missouri Tiger. Nathaniel Pete looked like a brand new version of himself, one that holds onto the ball and runs confidently. And he ran on the right side and did not get blown up. I'm like, I'm happy for now.
It looks great right now. Yeah. I thought they did great. I thought the running backs looked really, really impressive, and I thought the holes that they were getting were really good. And if I was going to be nitpicky, I would say maybe we got to figure out some of these penalties, these procedure penalties, that kind of stuff. I mean, I know Marcellus Johnson had one. I know Cameron Johnson had a false start. That kind of stuff, just got to clean it up. And you can right now chalk it up to first game jitters, right? But like, we'll see if this is like a pattern going in, because this is exactly what we saw last season. I felt like a lot of penalties, a lot of missed opportunities and stuff like that. And we almost saw it in the first half when the touchdown actually got called back because of the holding. Yeah. So, it's first week. I don't want to take too many big takeaways, but like all in all, I thought it was pretty good. I thought they did a good job in that wide zone that they would really like to run. It was there. And you saw it in the second half when he just started handing it off to Schrader over and over and over again. The last drive, I think he said 8 runs in a row or something like that. Yeah, and it was almost all the same play. Like, it was pretty much the same thing. So, impressive. Definitely impressive.
Yeah. Mimbu and Johnson gave up a sack, which was kind of
Yeah.
fluky, and Foster had a hold too. But yeah, I think for the most part, like again, FCS opponent aside, it was definitely an improvement over what we've seen. And I think it was 6 penalties for 46 yards, if I remember correctly, is where at least when I stopped counting. Um, better than 10, not as good as
Could
3.
be worse.
Could
Yeah.
be a lot worse. So that's all right. The other question was defensive end. Does Missouri have anything? And what can Darius Robinson do for us on the edge? Can we just call this the Johnny Walker show? What do we say? 25 sacks under 20.
It might be. Hey man, he was popping off the page, right? Like it looked impressive, and I thought I saw 2020 Trajan Jeffcoat. It was crazy, right? Just he, and there was like I think the first drive out of the second half, he was just kind of all over the place to start off, just pops off the screen. So like if he's going to step in and replace a lot of those snaps from Jeffcoat, like that is probably like a net win. It looks like as of now, and the run game looks solid, like not giving up his edge or anything like that, and making good pass rush moves. Like it was obvious like South Dakota was not trying to push the ball down the field super far, but when they did, like it seemed like we were getting consistent pressure, especially off the edges. I was really worried about Darius Robinson and didn't know how he would translate moving from D tackle to D end. But it seems, I mean, first week, pretty solid so far. So
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes from there. But like, there's a lot of moving pieces in those DN spots, and we saw Niles Gaddy get reps as well. Like all of these guys, it was really weird seeing a DN out there without gloves.
Yeah, man, wild.
Like, no, like he probably plays great. I'm sure he's a great athlete, but I know that his teammates are giving him trouble about the gloves. There's probably like zero drip right there.
Yeah. We need to put a damn cowboy collar on him. Back in the 80s and 90s.
That's what I'm saying. Something. I don't know. No gloves was just throwing me up. I'm not exactly sure why.
I noticed it too the second he was out there, and I also noticed that he was usually playing as like a stand-up rusher rather than hand in the dirt.
Yeah,
a lot of heavier sets, like 3 down linemen, and then he was standing up. So I don't know if that's like his specific role or that's just what they called most with him. But what do you think?
They may have packages for him like that. I don't know what his role is, but he definitely looks smaller than I thought he was originally. Like he's not this big overwhelming force. I think he's more long and rangy, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But like I didn't think he would be standing up the way he is. I definitely thought he would be more of a hand in the dirt kind of guy.
Yeah, me too. So again, one game, and it was an FCS opponent. So if you want to take anything away from it, that's fine. Yeah. We got another game in 7 to 8 days to figure that out. Here's the actual thing for me, because we had questions about quarterback and offensive line and just run game in general and defensive end. And we like what we saw against an FCS opponent. Buddy, we have a kicking problem, and it starts with Harrison Mevis. And I do not feel like I'm overreacting, because we saw this last year where he was missing 30-yarders. And once again, he's missing the stuff that he used to make from 30 yards. Not only that, he kicked a duck as an extra point that got saved by a false start. Now, I know you talked about holdings, the holder, and that might be part of it, but you don't have bad holds for 3 straight kicks in the same game. What is going on with our big, beautiful thicker?
That's a very good question, right? Like, I think we kind of all, after that Georgia game last year, we're just like, oh, you made 5 field goals, we're all good. Like, nothing, not a big deal. But like, we legitimately have a mortal college kicker, and I think it's probably smart that we start acting like that as like a coaching staff. Probably, maybe they start not acting as if we can just get to the 35, 40-yard line and then kick a long field goal. Because like, I don't know if Mevis is actually that guy. And I took a screenshot of the hold. That was one hold, right? But like that extra point that he missed, that looked like one of those a fan comes on the field and like kicks a field goal. Like that was legitimately, and I don't want to be mean, but that was legitimately terrible kick. And like that. Like I don't know how that happened. The very next kick, it looked great. It looked straight on the extra point. But like I'm not exactly sure how that stuff happens. It definitely doesn't happen 3 or 4 times in a row, right? And the laces out is one thing, but like you got to find a way to make kicks, man. That's you're the thicker kicker. Like got to make kicks, man.
And like, if you want to say, oh, lose weight, he did lose weight. He lost almost 10 pounds in the off season.
I don't think that matters. I really don't think that matters. Like
it shouldn't. It shouldn't.
His
If
weight,
you know how you move.
right? Your weight is your weight at kicker, and I just feel like it doesn't look to the eye, at least. It doesn't look like any of his mechanics are different. It just looks like he's missing kicks and pulling it the wrong way, or just straight up shanking it, right? Like you got to figure out a way to make kicks because, I mean, we've seen throughout the years when we play these SEC games and it gets tight, it's close, and it's a one possession game. These kicks are what separates like wins from losses.
Yep. Yeah.
That is now starting to become like a really big thing, I think, for this league.
It absolutely is. If you want to win close games, you need to have great coaching, great quarterback play, and reliable special teams, specifically field goals. And that's how Eli Drinkwitz went undefeated in one possession games in 2020, because he made smart choices with the quarterback he had. And he had Harrison Mevis knocking it in no matter where he was. That is no longer an option. It's just not. We saw it last year against Auburn. We saw it last year in a couple other games, and now we've seen it here. And so, yeah, we used to be, you cross the 30, you're good. That's not the case. And I don't know. My mind goes back to Grant Russell from 2009 to 2011, and he was unstoppable in 9 and 10, could not miss a kick. And then we get to 11, and just he got worms in the brain. And I don't know if he was overthinking it or the luck ran out, but he could not hit anything in 11 to the point where he got replaced. And this was a kid who was like setting the school record in field goal accuracy, and he got replaced. So these sorts of things happen. Having a reliable college kicker is just not a thing. If you win what is the kicking trophy? The Morris Trophy? Not the guy is punting.
The Groza,
that's what it is. Groza winners do not repeat. They just don't. You have one great year, and then we don't know where you are anymore. And that's just a function of being a young kicker, but it's such a mental game too, that if you get off, then you're off. And it just kind of feels like that's where Mevis is right now.
Definitely. And you could see him when he came off the sideline, his eyes, he was blinking all over the place. Like it almost looked like he couldn't believe like he missed like a kick like that. And maybe he was reacting to the laces or whatever, but like, yeah, I'm going to send him a lot of hope and wishful thinking and everything like that, because I get it. Kicker is like you have one job, and I think everybody holds that position. Everybody's really hard on the kicker. So I don't want to be a jerk about it, but I'm just saying like he's going to have to make kicks, and it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation if he keeps missing kicks, especially in big spots. Like imagine if he misses a kick in like a Kansas State game and we lose the game or something like that.
Man, like that's it. I mean,
that's bad mojo. I don't want to bring that out there, but like, yeah.
I get it, man. Like you have to wonder. How are you going to do in big spots? And to his credit, he was not the most accurate dude last year. And in fact, the week after the Auburn debacle was when he nailed 5 field goals against Georgia. So like, we've seen him bounce back. We have seen him be confident. We have seen the advantage me conversations from 2020. We remember all that stuff. And so we've seen it. Like you said, I don't want to make a big deal out of one game, but like, it feels like a continuation. It feels like it's a problem. So I don't know what you do. We haven't seen the other kickers. We don't know what else is behind him, but I don't think he's going to win his Heisman. And if he wants to come back next year, like
that's out. Yeah, that's probably out. The Groza, all them awards, probably out. Hate to say it now in week 1, but probably not, considering like, didn't he go like a ridiculous percentage a couple of years ago, and he wasn't even like a finalist?
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah. Like
he had. I mean, I can pull it up, but like during 2020, it was a specific year where we're like, oh, we have something here.
Right.
And in 2020, and again, COVID, don't take anything from that, but still, he went 28 for 28 on extra points, 12 for 13 on field goals under 40 yards, and 5 of 7 for field goals over 40 yards. That means foot hit ball 93.8% of the time he got points. In 21, that was 97%, 41 on 41 on extra points, 9 for 9 on field goals under 40, 14 of 16 for field goals over 40. And then last year, he missed 4 under 30, 2 over 40. And now here we are, 2023, 1 game in, he's already missed 2. So we'll give him credit. He can still hit extra points, except for that one weird one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think we can be conservative and just rely on him anymore. And that means score points, which means find your quarterback.
Gonna have to score points. May have to risk or raise our risk profile, and when we get past the 50, because it's settling for those long threes is just really a tough move to make. Because obviously, if you miss it, then we're going back, and they have a really good field position going the other way. So it's just they got to figure the kicking stuff out ASAP, because it's going to come back to bite them.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to end on a downer, so I will just say the defense looked great. They were put into several bad positions and only gave up 10 points. It's a boomy kind of defense. That means they explode in the backfield, and sometimes they give up some big ones, which they did. But all in all, like when they got into scoring position, they held them to 10. I don't remember how many times they crossed the 40. I'll get those numbers to you for my Beyond the Box score, but like it was good. And I'm not saying that they didn't miss Chad Bailey and Jalen Carlisle, because you always miss guys of that caliber, but I don't know. Did the younger linebackers or the younger safeties give you any kind of impression?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm
smiling real big. I saw Marvin Burks out there.
Hell yeah.
I saw Marvin Burks out there. He's gonna play. He's gonna play snaps, I think. He's probably the next guy. I think they'll probably groom to kind of take over in possibly that star role or something like that. But regardless, he's a good player. He's getting on the field. I'm biased, obviously, but it's good when Satan's case get on the field and play immediately. Just is. You have a night where it's like Marvin Burks is making sacks, and Luther Burton is trucking kids and getting to the end zone. And Cody Strader is running through the offensive line through over 100 yards. Like it's good to see some of those kids doing good things. And Burks is one of those ones who I definitely caught my eye.
Very cool to see him sack the quarterback. I mean, I'm not going to speak for him, but that's got to be like an all-time memorable moment for you in your first game as a Missouri Tiger SEC to sack the quarterback as an 18-year-old freshman. Like, that's cool. Like, that's super cool.
You kind of look at him like he looks physically ready to play right now. Like, I don't know if maybe it was just a TV, it adds 10 pounds, but like, he looks like a sophomore, junior physically. Like, it was impressive. Like, I'm really excited to see how they find ways to get him snaps. And he was one of them. I saw Philip Roach out there as well. He was getting snaps in the secondary. I thought it was good that defense kind of added, some of those younger guys and were able to get reps. I would assume some of those guys, one of those 4 games that they play in before that they redshirt. So definitely good to see a lot of those younger guys get reps.
For sure, yeah. So, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, Luther Burden was trucking fools. He was getting the crap knocked out of him too.
Yes,
that's not great.
No, bro. I love him on punt return. He's electric. I don't know if it's worth the squeeze. I really don't.
Yeah.
He's going to be such a huge part of the offense. You really have to start wondering, like, is it worth risking it for injury? Just to think about the collisions that happen on those punt return units. It's really scary to think about, like, hey, Luther gets a concussion, and not that we wouldn't be fine. I think Makai Miller is really good, filling in really well, but like, It still is a burden, right? We
Yeah.
still want him on the field.
Yeah.
I would prefer if he didn't have CTE as well. So maybe, we protect him a little bit, take him off punts.
I mean,
That's just what I would like.
he's done it. We've seen him do it. Take it to the house on a punt return. But like he also has the nasty habit of letting it bounce, which he didn't really do today. But like the first hit, when he caught that pass on the left hash, he got hit so hard I thought Emo's toasted rab was going to fly out of his pockets. Like I was genuinely concerned that he was messed up. And then he took a second hit on the punt return, and I see your point. I mean, Chris Abrams-Drain can return punts. We've seen Nate and Nathaniel Pete do it too. And you got some younger guys who have some experience in that field. You want the explosive play. You want the big emotional play, which a punt return or a kick return is. But, like, he hasn't, other than the one, and I know that's a big one, other than the one, he has not really been that impressive as a punt returner. And, yeah, if he's going to get knocked, I'm with you. Maybe we go somewhere else.
And it's not because I think he would probably be the best punt returner in this situation, but I don't know if the opportunities that he gets, if it's really worth the risk long term. Especially when like you could have somebody go out there who has some wiggle and can do some things as well, but like he's going to play so many snaps on offense. I don't know that it's really worth it. Like, imagine if he's gone for multiple weeks or something like that. Yeah. I always go to the worst case scenario when it comes to that stuff. Like this. But it's really hard to fathom what this offense looks like without Luther. So
yeah, we've seen. Right. Like he was very good at the slot. He didn't explode for 100 yards or anything, but he looked comfortable, and I liked. He ran his routes. It's just like, man, that's where he's always should have been. So that felt really good. I don't know. Anything else? Anything else we haven't talked about that caught your eye?
Freshman tight ends, but that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting some snaps really early. It's a good thing. Probably a good thing long term. Yeah. Other than that, I was just happy to see Mizzou play football again. Happy to see Mizzou win a football game. Like we take these things for granted sometimes, I think, and it's hard to win football games. These guys put in a lot of work, and if you win one game right now, I can be happy with that because we're 1-0. That's all we can be right now. The best we can be is 1-0, and I like winning a lot more than I do hate losing. So, just happy that we're 1-0. Sound like Eli, but we're 1-0.
That's okay, man. We can sound like our football dad. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, I hear that. Yeah. And by the way, I know people are going to ask, this is a Bud Light. I'm a father of 2. I'm pushing 40 and it's a school night. I am not drinking anything good. But yeah, I mean, look, don't underestimate the power of being 1-0 with your football team going into a long football weekend. Like, unless you got money on some games, you ain't sweating anything and you can just enjoy the slate, man.
And I'm laughing at every team that plays because there's going to be a couple of SEC teams. Watch.
Yeah.
Watch. Those games get real close week 1. So
That's right. Like LOL Florida. That was
not great. Not great.
Oh man! Thankfully YouTube TV's got the box.
The multi-box.
I was watching both, and I was like, "Whoa, that's not pretty."
It's going left quick. I think Utah is really good though.
They are.
I think Florida might be a mess right now, but Utah is going to be like a really good team.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Utah is always the most vulnerable in September, but yeah, they looked even with their backup quarterback, like, yeah,
he was throwing some darts. It was pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's going to be our show. You all can enjoy your weekend. We can enjoy a Mizzou victory. We can enjoy Aaron Dryden being back in our life, talking football. The coach is busy. Tell the people what you've been up to recently. What is Coach Dryden doing?
It's a nut cut. No, seriously, man. I'm enjoying being a dad. I'm enjoying coaching football. I'm watching a lot of film. I enjoy what I do for a living. This stuff, I I love football. It's given me a lot as a man, and it's great to be able to pay that forward to other kids. Coaching is a really great way to do that. So we're getting ready. We'll kick off next week as our first game, and we'll be ready to go. We got a good team this year. I think we'll be all right.
Awesome.
My kids might be watching on the pod, so if I said anything, don't take it too personal.
Man, look, hey, coaches always use the media to talk to their team. Just remember that. He's talking about you. He's talking about you. You take those notes. Well, yeah, thank you, Coach. Appreciate you joining the show, and that's going to be the show for today. As always, we appreciate the downloads and the subscriptions. Leave a comment or rate us. We love all types of feedback from you all. You follow us on Twitter. I'm at Nate G. Edwards. He's at iAirDry. On Twitter machine, of course. And you can follow the Rock M Flagship.
Coach.
I forgot. You're all official now, Coach AirDry.
Yeah, I had to get professional.
Yeah, and this is your time to spread it, so let me get it right, for sure. Of course, the Rock M Flagship is at Rock M Nation. The podcast now is at Rock M Radio. I'm not going to screw those up. Well, we appreciate you tuning in this time. We'll try to do better next time. And until then, MIZ.
ZOU.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Rock M Radio, a proud partner of Fans First Sports Network. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to see more just like it beamed directly into your personal device, just click the subscribe button below. Beep. And you can find this podcast through the Apple Podcast app or for iPhone, the Google Podcast app for Android, or whatever app you use to listen to your podcast. We are also available on Spotify. Just search for Rock M Radio. And if you like other sports, Fans First Sports Network is a podcast network that has coverage of all other teams, Major League Baseball, MLS, NFL, whatever you want to listen and read about. It is a great network full of really fantastic podcasts. So look them up and subscribe to any and all of those podcasts. Rock M Radio will be back with more episodes coming soon. Thanks.